Hey, what's up?
Hey.
Are we live?
Yeah, we've
that what's
always
going on?
live, man.
Always
We've been
live.
live for like 2.5 hours here. We just keep going.
2.5 hours.
Yeah. 6 hours yesterday.
Streaming.
Yeah.
Nice.
Live. It just keeps happening. People in the chat are joining us. They're loving it. Aaron
How many
von
people?
Wirdum.
How many people are watching?
Oh, it took away the ability to see that. We
Oh,
have to go to
is that?
we have to go to some other page.
It's all good.
Let's see. I'd guess like 10.
Nice.
It's not a
people.
It's not a real great day for like YouTube because there's also the other live stream. Like
There's a live stream of the
live stream
conference,
over there.
of course.
There's
So
the live stream.
You're competing with
We're
them.
competing against them. Oh, look, it says 20.
This is where the real information is being shared now.
Right there. Well, and here we're actually talking to the audience. Like you can get your question in. Look, 20 people watching.
There you go.
That's not bad at all.
We just doubled the numbers.
And they didn't even say anything bad in the chat. Generally, like it's a little borderline, but like I'm right there with them. So, but yeah, no, they're just talking about waterproof treasures and what a good idea it is and how we're all going to lose our
they're kind of already waterproof, right?
I tested mine, it sank. It went straight. Yeah,
but does it still work? That's the important part.
I couldn't find it afterwards. So
you dropped it in a lake or something?
It was a yachting
accident, of course. Yeah, these happen all the time.
Happens all the time.
Right.
Giacomo Zucco, all of us are out there.
Yeah,
what about all our treasures fully loaded?
So
all the money in the world.
What about floating treasures? Is that on the roadmap? That will solve a lot of people's problems.
Well, yeah. I mean, considering the amount of boating accidents.
Yeah.
Definitely.
The next treasure that I buy, or maybe they'll send me one for free, needs to have that big yellow or orange floaty on it, like the boating keys. It's all squishy and should just print treasure on the side. On the back, you'd say like, treasures don't float, but they do now. Or
have an app on your phone where if you press it, fireworks starts.
Oh, yeah.
So boats can find it.
The tile locator in there, so I can geotag where it is.
That's what I'm waiting for.
We're not going to lose your keys, even physically in the real world now. We're taking care of you, Trezor. So Aaron, the star of Bitcoin Magazine, they had the first new printed issue in forever, the 10th anniversary issue, and I flipped through it. Every single article was written by you. They were all
not
about
everyone.
Bitcoin's history. I was like, Bitcoin history, new article, Bitcoin history, new article. Aaron. So
yeah, well, part of it is cheating because some of the articles were already published online and we just sort of reworked them.
That's fine.
But the first couple of articles in the paper, like when you start reading, these are all original content.
Yeah.
Right
David
there.
Bailey wrote a letter and someone wrote the table of contents. There's some pictures, but then it was all Aaron. So the first question, the most important question, are you still writing the book about Bitcoin history?
Yeah, I told you about this on the last.
Burn it out with the articles.
I told you about this on the last podcast, right?
Yes,
so now you're gonna wait for it. Now every time I come on the show, you're gonna hassle me about
Where
it.
is the book? Where is
book?
the book? Like,
so the magazine was kind of a preview of the book, right? I mean, it's similar.
I just don't want you to get distracted with the magazine. I want you to come back with the book. Like,
yeah, I'm distracted with a lot of things. I just started a podcast.
Oh, you and everyone else in the world, right?
Yeah.
I've heard of that. It's very obvious.
I was the last person who didn't have a podcast yet, but I finally joined.
Good. What? And just audio only?
No, we have videos. We have YouTube as well. You can find it on YouTube, but it's Dutch only, so you'll have to learn Dutch.
I've been learning German. That's pretty close.
Close enough, yeah.
That's what I think.
That's
German,
a small step
Austrian,
from German.
Dutch.
And you speak English, so if you speak German and English, you're off to a good start already. So I've been doing that. We've been working at Bitcoin Magazine, of course, still.
Yeah.
I'm at a conference now, so I'm not writing the book today, but it's still in process. It's a work in process.
It's gone Bitcoin only, but when I flipped the magazine open, right there in the center, it was like, what are ICOs? And then I flipped the poster thing or whatever over. It was like, what are stable coins? Yeah. I think it was more like,
we're gonna have to.
It was like,
it
was, they tried to relate it to Bitcoin. They're like, what are ICOs and do they affect Bitcoin? And it was probably going to be like, ICOs never affect Bitcoin, but here are our top 3 favorites, and you can find them at www.icoscamfest.com.
That was not in the magazine.
Oh, I'm afraid it was. And then the next page was like, no, actually I do. It's in my bag. If you really, really want it, but then I'll get all my books out.
We'll just
I've been buying books all over Europe.
we'll just officially
Bank's
disagree,
so
and
heavy.
people will have to figure it out.
All right, people can figure it out.
People
But
can be the judge at home.
and there's some advertisements and things, and
You don't like it. You don't like that either.
they're okay.
You just
but
want
now
pure,
I want
pure
Bitcoin
content.
only ads now. Like Trezor has switched to Bitcoin only, and now I'm expecting a higher standard out of everyone. So,
Trezor didn't really though. Like that's one specific
Like,
release.
she was very clear. Bitcoin only firmware. It's better. It's the best.
Why? Oh yeah. I think you'll just have to tell me later because I guess you already discussed that.
Good, but I mean, just less code.
What's that?
Less code makes it better.
Less code makes it better. So
There
it
you
wasn't
go.
very good before.
Done.
No,
It was kind of mad before.
It was very good before, and now it's just better.
See, now somebody's asking you the hard questions. You're in trouble. We got the real journalist
It's
now.
actually like a tricky question because usually, and I think even you actually asked it.
Yeah.
It's like, so it was not good before. But I mean, it's open source. I mean, that's my only
It was okay
answer.
before. I mean, you could have had a hide altcoins button, and that would have done it visually. But the idea is then that sneaky Trojan horse Lucky 7 wallet's going to get in there. But it seems like that would have happened by now. We already had the peak of like, if I was going to steal all the money from the Trezor wallets, I would have already done it by now. Maybe
Are these tattoos in your leg, or is it part of your legging?
No, that's actually tattoos.
Intimidating.
Thanks.
questions
That
I
was
wanted
the
to
point.
ask but wouldn't. Oh, the audience wants to see now. Shut up,
Oh.
audience.
Yeah, I guess you'll have to show.
They're a bunch of
Well, you have
pigs.
to come here, like, or maybe to other cool conferences, and
Which conferences are you going to next?
I'll be at Decentralized Conference in Athens.
Ooh, I love
Yeah.
Athens.
Yeah, I haven't been there.
What's there?
Parthenon.
No, I meant at the conference more than in Athens, but
Acropolis,
we
nice
can,
museums.
We can cover both.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a quite cool conference. It is organized by University of Nicosia and the Institute of Future. I suppose it is called like that, and they have their own like separate blockchain initiative. They were the first to do education on cryptocurrencies and actually.
Wait, it's the University of Cyprus.
Yeah.
Oh, and they're doing it in Athens.
Yeah, they're just doing it in Athens.
Cyprus is part of Athens, right? No.
It used to be part of Greece at one
It was
point
part
in
of
history.
Greece. They freed it. I've seen pictures.
Yeah.
I've seen pictures
You're a
of the
historian.
revolution. Yeah. I'm into it.
Yeah, and they really provide very cool education. I was a student by myself, and Andreas was my lecturer, so it's really,
Ooh.
really cool.
Was he talking about Ethereum or Bitcoin?
Only Bitcoin.
Oh yeah, and he's into Lightning now too. So he's changed. The wind blew that way.
Oh, the Andreas win? Oh, yeah. Oh, you're dissing Andreas live on air.
Oh yeah,
I was
man.
slow to catch on to that
we've
one.
got to mastering Ethereum. I don't know why it happened, but it happened. So maybe the wind was blowing that way that day.
Well, maybe it's the same, you know, about the market and demand. I mean, the thing that happened like to Trezor, like naturally happens to Andreas. I mean, someone had to write this book, and maybe he was the best to do it.
You wrote it with Gavin Wood, right? And now Gavin Wood is doing other stuff as Ethereum. He's doing his own thing.
Yeah, he wrote, but no, he's writing the
doing
new book with roast beef though. It's
Oh, yeah,
like
the
he's got
Lightning
the
book.
real Lightning,
Yeah, and Renee.
the real Lightning guys, and it's going to be real. And I'm sure he can run it without SegWit. I mean, during the SegWit war, we looked to the great Andreas, and they gave him $1 million. And we were like, "Where are you?" And he said, "I must remain neutral like Switzerland." We said, "Actually, remaining neutral is not really neutral. It means that you're not helping the side that's right. It means that you haven't taken a position, which is also taking a position." And I've said this before, and I've said this to him, but yeah, we needed him. We needed him then. We needed him to take a position, and not taking a position was not helpful.
He took a position eventually.
Yeah,
It took a while.
That's a real way to go. I mean, Britain was being bombed, France was being conquered, Belgium was in ruins. But eventually, Japan bombed Pearl Harbor, and he had to take a position. But a lot of us took positions before that. But that's okay. He's cool. Someday I'll see him at another conference if the conference can afford it.
I actually saw him in the Telegram chat of this conference, so it was
yeah?
quite strange. Is
You
he
really think it
here?
was him? I saw his
Oh, maybe
one
it
of his
was.
agents posted a big long paragraph about the book, and I held my tongue and I didn't say anything bad, so it was a victory for saying nothing. So
So there's a Telegram group for the conference. I'm missing out on
Yeah.
everything. I think there's also a speakers group, and I wasn't invited to that one
oh,
either.
you got to get in all the
Yeah.
elite speakers
Yeah.
things. They're supposed to have this fancy media room with couches where all the elite speakers hang out and drink champagne like this. They're very classy people.
It's pretty close.
Yeah, yeah, but then they put
You claimed you're nice.
yeah, they put a bunch of
VIP
microphones. They're like, yeah, this is the media room, and I'm like, okay, and then they come trying to kick me out all the time, and I'm like, well, what about all my stuff? And then they think about it. Some
Is there anything interesting to talk about? There's like 20 people watching, right? Should we talk about the conference?
more. Have you seen anything cool at the conference? Any good speakers or?
Did you see my panel? No, you were here. You were competing with me on live stream while
That's
I
you're
was
right.
doing
I
my
was definitely
panel.
competing with you, twittering about my own thing, completely focused on myself.
To be honest, when I go to conferences, I don't watch a lot of talks at all. I just hang out in spaces like this, and
That's
then when
it.
I'm home, I'll watch the talks. And
That's
I'll
what I always think.
comfortable.
It's been interesting
on the
at this one.
couch.
People are obsessed with the talks. Like I've seen them; they were
But
all in there.
there's
They
definitely
won't
good
come
talks
out.
for
There's
sure,
good
and
talks,
there's
yeah.
lots of people, and there's lots of people in the talks as well. There's a lot of engagements.
Yeah.
It's a great conference, I think.
Yeah,
I
it's
really
been good.
like this one, and I like Berlin, and it's got that Berlin atmosphere.
Yeah, yeah.
I really like it.
It's been good.
Were you at the hackathon hack day thing last year, or
No,
one
no,
of
I
the
didn't
other?
make
You
it.
weren't
No.
either,
No, I
or
weren't.
these were great. These were great as well. It felt really like, and I guess here as well, but the hack days really felt like the early days of Bitcoin, like like back when it was for developers, really. Like the first conferences were like developer conferences,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Before the commercial guys started to get in, and before the suits started to get
FinTech.
in, and
Yeah.
before all of that happened, and that was kind of the vibe of the hack day, and I really liked it. And now they kind of grew it into a conference, so I like it. This is a great conference.
The part I like about here is the upstairs where they're building all the things, and then they had a table, and it looked like Ben was doing a workshop, and he was walking around and teaching everybody. And Ben used to be a teacher, so he's perfect for that.
Which Ben is that?
Ben, BTC Socialist.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, and he's got like all the little lightning devices, and then a whole bunch of other people. They built one that sprays bubbles, one that takes your picture.
Oh yeah, that's very. I really enjoyed the bubble.
Yeah,
really
it was
cool.
really cute, and it was another just great example. And also, it's funny because it's bubbles. Bitcoin's a bubble, and like it goes out and it disappears. So just like Bitcoin.
Yeah,
But,
they're doing like hands-on classes kind of things,
yeah.
and
I like to touch things. I like to get hands.
you like to touch things.
Yeah, it's very exciting for me. It doesn't happen often.
Yeah.
Yes.
I actually have a question for Aaron. Like, I didn't hear that you write a book, but I think that's really interesting because I find like people very much confused, like especially no coiners when they enter the space, and it takes like really huge amount of time to learn about Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Like up to 6 months, and for some people even up to 1 year to get familiar.
I'm still learning.
Yeah, I mean we're all still learning, but I just wanted to say that it's really cool if you actually make this book like till which year, like the Bitcoin history when you
Yeah,
want to
no.
start
So it's actually the prehistory. So
Okay.
it starts 100 years before Bitcoin, basically,
Okay.
like with Austrian economics kind of stuff, and then the technical side starts in the 70s, right, with public key cryptography, and then you get David Chaum, and you get the cypherpunks, and Szabo, Finney, all of that, and then when Bitcoin starts, that's where the book ends. So.
Will you add Greg Wright to Bitcoin's history?
Well, the
Only
last,
if he invents it.
the last chapter would be sort of the email announcement so that's Greg Wright announcing Bitcoin to the world, of course, right? So he'll be in the book under his pseudonym.
Now, what do you think about the headline that he chose?
Bitcoin
Chancellor on the brink of
that
bailouts
headline
for banks.
I thought the headline of the white paper itself.
No. I think the headline's interesting.
It's
because he doesn't control the
peer-to-peer
news.
electronic cash. Remember that?
Yeah, it has cash in the title. Makes all the difference. But the other headline, that to me shows that he has Bitcoin ready to go and that he's waiting for a good headline.
You'd almost think that, right? Yeah, it's very
Don't you think?
interesting
I
that
mean,
he
it's
got
like
like the fucking perfect headline
like,
on the fucking
I
perfect
mean,
day. Like, how is that even possible?
now there's
Unless he was waiting.
he
Yeah.
was waiting is the first option. The other option is he just got totally lucky.
Yeah.
He finished the code the night before. He's like really excited. He's like, fuck it, I need a headline. Okay, that works. Done. Good. Boom.
Yeah.
But I think he's waiting. I think he's sitting. I think, and
Well,
again,
the-
we have to, how much forethought is this guy putting into it? He perfectly disappears. The government is supposed to basically, there's this classic story. Prometheus gave fire to the man. And then they took Prometheus, they chained him to a rock, and every day this bird would come and eat out his liver. And every day his liver would grow back. And then the bird would come, and then they'd eat it and then go back. So I think Satoshi saw this, and he's like, that's not happening to me. And he had all this forethought, and that's why I think he waited for the right headline.
Well, so my theory is that Helvini, he's frozen now, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And my theory is that he's got a brain wallet, right? So he's got his Bitcoins in his brain.
Sure.
So at some point in the future, he's going to be unfrozen, and then he's gonna have all of his money, and he's gonna be like the richest person in the world or something.
The Revenge of Hal.
But then he's gonna realize, wait, the only way this doesn't cause a time loop is Bitcoin actually needs to be invented. So then he uses a lot of his money to invent time travel, but he can only invent time travel in such, it can be physical time travel, but he can send like messages into the past, right?
That's
so
the
then
thing I keep hearing. Buy Bitcoin.
So
buy
then
Bitcoin.
he thinks of the pseudonym Satoshi Nakamoto, and he contacts his own past self.
Sure.
And then he starts communicating with his past self, and they start
so Hal
building.
in the future is Satoshi in the past.
How much in the future is Satoshi in the
very
past?
much Hal is. So it's very much like Terminator theory, where you can't have the Terminator if you don't have the arm in the thing, and you can't have the arm in the thing unless you have the Terminator. So we're in an infinite loop already.
That's where we're at. Yeah, that's my theory. So that's why it's not a coincidence with the timing. Like he just messaged to his past self, like, "Yo, you gotta publish it on that exact day because then
unfreezing people and bringing him back and fixing ALS technology." Yeah, that's number one that we should be doing as a species.
If we want Bitcoin to exist, then yeah.
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 No pressure.
Yeah, but I mean, I wonder, in case he's unfrozen, like, will he even remember something? I mean, is it proven that when people are unfrozen, they still like?
Well, it's all about the composition of the brain. Like we know that the memories are stored in the brain. If the brain's intact, I'm actually reading a great book about this. I keep telling everybody, Fail by Neil Stephenson. It's great. And it's actually just about this. This rich computer guy had a deal before he died that his brain would be scanned and put in a computer. So this leads to like an arms race of people trying to get his money because he has tons of money to scan him and put him in the computer. And then what they end up doing is slicing his brain into parts and like imaging each part and then somehow reconstructing it in the computer. And eventually they bring him online.
Okay, that's what we will have to do with Hal Finney's brain.
That's it. Well, there's different ways to go. Like Aaron's saying, I don't know if Hal has a whole body frozen or just the head.
I think whole body, as far as I know.
Whole body is way more money.
Yeah, but I think he has a whole body, but I could be wrong. But that's
because things get complicated. Like first of all, we don't have the ability to transplant heads, so like that's something we have to develop. We don't have the ability to unfreeze people, and then we can unfreeze them, but and nothing happens. Yeah. We need to rejuvenate, bring them back to life. So that's major key. So we have 3 problems. So if he has the head still attached, that's one less problem to solve because we don't have to reattach the head.
They unfroze like worms or something, or that's where this whole extropian ideal comes from. Like they did it.
Yeah. They brought them back.
Yeah. Did
the worms remember it? Were they still the same worms?
Yeah, they were functional. I don't know if they had a lot of memories to take with them, worms. But they were functional worms. Yeah.
Well, that's pretty good. I know.
Maybe I'm talking nonsense, but they unfroze something. I don't know if it were worms.
No, worms sounds right. Worms are fascinating. You can cut them in half, and it becomes 2 worms. That sounds cool. I've often thought.
Also cool.
Cut myself in half. There'd be 2 of me. I could get a lot more work done. Maybe one of me could specialize in leisure, the other in work. Yeah, that doesn't seem
one of them.
Fair.
One of them can finally finish that book. And
We're definitely
the other one can just hang out.
I can do editing. Yeah, I can edit things. But no, remember you would probably end up fighting my doppelganger.
Oh,
there's this whole thing like you're supposed to be able to have sex with your doppelganger, but you have to kill them afterwards. because otherwise, things could get messy.
There's this
But,
whole
yeah.
thing that you have to have sex with your doppelganger, but then you have to kill it. This whole thing exists.
I'm sorry, like it's just a thing. Like if you ever meet your doppelganger, that's probably what's going to happen.
Everyone knows this.
It's the history of Narcissus, right? He was looking into the pond and he found himself so beautiful that he just stayed there and looked at himself until he turned into a flower.
Oh man,
Don't
yeah,
let that
you
happen
really
to
are.
you. Oh, Renaissance man.
Yeah, for sure. You know everything.
Oh, you should see me MC. I read a poem. I did Shakespeare. I listened to the speeches and thought of clever things to say afterwards. But there's a whole different kind of emceeing that's more popular where you're like, and here's the next person.
They were doing good emceeing over here. Have you seen it?
I don't know.
Like,
I saw him this morning and it was like, and here's our first guest.
No, it was Stefan and Stefan and Desiree.
Yeah,
they
got
good
it.
chemistry. It was great. It was like an
that's
award
good.
show.
That's what you need, though. You have to have that energy, and you have to.
I think
bring
today
people
they
into the
had a
show.
little bit less energy, maybe compared to yesterday. But
I know I have a solution for that. I just let MadBitcoins do it.
you let
I just call him up, and he just comes in and he puts on the whole thing, and he's like, "Good morning, Bitcoins!" And suddenly everyone's excited. Everyone's listening. They're like, "What is that? What is going on?"
And I remember watching your first video for sure. Like I remember seeing it pop up on Reddit.
Yeah.
Like these are the old days. Yeah, I remember that.
It was pretty fun, man.
Yeah,
it was pretty crazy.
Yeah, I remember it very well.
Yeah.
Like this new guy was showing up. You probably entered the space around the same time as I did. So
Yeah,
like 2013.
Yeah, it was April 2013.
Yeah, same for me.
And Let's Talk Bitcoin. It just came out a little while before, and they had that conference in San Jose that I almost went to but didn't go to. And
I went to the Amsterdam one the year after.
Oh,
that was my first big conference.
Was that where I was nominated?
Yeah, I think so.
I was
Yeah,
so excited. I was nominated for most creative video, and I was like, I'm a shoo-in. I'm crazy creative. Like if it said like most distinguished or most serious or something.
Omer beat you, I think.
Yeah, he did. It was what's it called?
I Am Satoshi.
I Am Satoshi documentary, which I liked. It's a good documentary.
Yeah.
It's got some great interviews. It's not very creative at all. And
I think so. I thought it was pretty creative.
Creative is a green screen. You have to have a green screen.
Oh, yeah, you didn't have that.
Creativity,
and he didn't do a cool voice.
No cool voice. Yeah. And then I was also in the category with Mycelium Wallet. They had done this fantastic Alice in Wonderland mushroom-based trippy animation. And I was like, this is so good. You got the Mad Hatter, you got Alice in Wonderland, and then of course they gave it to the documentary. So at
That's
least
Adam Koenig, probably, right? Who made the other one?
Maybe.
He's from Berlin.
Yeah. It was a really trippy Alice in Wonderland thing, and then Mycelium went down. But it was a cool idea.
Oh, is that for the wallet?
Yeah, it was for the
Are they still around, Mycelium? Is that still a thing?
Allegedly, they had a big crowd sale, but then they had debts. So they used the money allegedly to pay the debts, and then after that, there was no more money. So all the things that they said in the crowd sale didn't happen because there was no money, and the programmers felt bad, and a lot of people felt bad. But like, you have to pay your debts. I don't know. It's super complicated when money gets involved. And again, I don't know anything from the inside. But
people probably still use the wallet.
The wallet still works, and especially here in Germany, where local Bitcoins has always been cut off. That Mycelium trader interface was apparently at the time really cool, and you could actually go find somebody and meet them and trade them some money for some.
Not
Bitcoins.
Anymore though. Is that not a thing anymore?
I think it still works, and I definitely think Germany still has local Bitcoins blocked. And even in the U.S., local Bitcoins is not very local. So
HODL works here though, right? In Germany?
Yeah. You have to find the match. I think. Well, it's a decentralized exchange. I don't know if they could stop it, even if it has.
Well, they don't serve the United States, for example, but I think they serve Germany. I think
it could be. It's relaxed a little. They have Bitcoin ATMs here now, where for a long time Bitcoin ATMs were just straight up illegal in Germany.
Yeah, but aren't they still kind of illegal? They just do it anyways.
There's some kind of law. Something lapsed. It became a gray area, and then everybody flooded the market with like, let's make money in the gray area.
Right.
So,
where are you hanging out these days? Are you traveling?
I'm traveling a fair amount on people's couches and other inexpensive places to stay. So yeah, maybe coming to a couch near you, internet. But no, I'm in Las Vegas.
Yeah, you're based in Vegas,
yeah.
but you've been here you lost your bank pass or something, right?
Well, I lost my ATM card.
Yeah.
So I was in Prague, and they have funny money in Prague. So you know how you use you use an ATM machine, and usually the top numbers for me are like 300 or 500, maybe 1,000, right? So I wanted a couple $100 of cash. So I was like, okay, 80,000 Goofy Prog monies. And it comes up $2,000. I was like, no. I don't even have that. Cancel. Get me out of here. And then I picked, maybe 40,000 or something less. And it comes up like still like $2,000. I was like, okay, I don't have $2,000. This isn't going to work. So I canceled again. And then my brother's looking on his phone trying to find out how much Goofy Prog currency is worth.
Is your brother traveling with you?
He was a couple weeks ago. I got him to go to London, Prague, and
Ah.
Well, I dragged him along.
Does he look like you?
He looks just like me.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I've never met him though, right?
No, not yet.
No.
Peter Todd's also
Is he into Bitcoin?
brother. Yeah, he's a little into Bitcoin. All my roommates, everybody I live with, everybody I talk to is all a little into Bitcoin, but not as much.
I wonder who's responsible for that.
I know. You have to like force your family and friends to get into it, even though they won't listen to you. But then the third time, so we're looking up the ATM card, the money. I had left the card in there. And advice to everyone, never leave your card in that horrible machine, because about a second later, it activated this anti-theft feature that as if I had left the card and gone away. Actually, I was right there in front of the machine. If they had like a laser check, or if it came up on screen, are you still there? We're going to eat your ATM card forever. No, there's no message like that. So it just goes, and it says, we're going to send your ATM card back to the bank.
Oh,
but you're still on the same trip, right?
Yeah.
So did you manage to get a new card, or what's up?
No. I mean, I have a couple €100, and I try to pay with credit card as much as I can.
Oh, you still do have your credit card?
Yeah,
that
credit
kind of solves all your problems.
Well,
you were making a big fuss about it.
Well, I need to get cash though, because you go.
Well, you can get it with a credit card from a machine as well, right?
If I have the PIN number, and then also that's called a. They start the juice on that right away.
That's
the
true.
Interest on that right on the day if you take a cash advance. So rather not do that. Have enough interest running in general. But you can always do balance transfers and things. Pro tip, people that live on credit cards. But yeah, I still need some cash for like the bakery or the bus or the angry guy at the bar that won't give me a drink unless
Why don't you live
cash.
on Bitcoin? That's what Colin is doing. My colleague at Bitcoin Magazine, he's traveling on Bitcoin. He's just only using Bitcoin.
Yeah, you still need cash.
He's only traveling for a week. So that's easier than you've been traveling for months, probably.
Yeah. A couple weeks, easy.
Yeah.
But I'm going to Scotland and Ireland next because I want to see where Robert Louis Stevenson lived. And then I'm going to go where Oscar Wilde lived and James Joyce and some castles and some museums.
I don't know none of these people. No, I know Oscar Wilde. I don't know who the other two are. I'm not a Renaissance man like you, my friend.
Robert Louis Stevenson wrote Treasure Island.
Treasure Island.
Like the classic kids book with Captain Long John Silver and all the Jim Ladd and all that, like the Black Mark, the Death Mark, and then he escapes onto a pirate ship. It's full of adventure. Every children's book is
in the Netherlands, we have kind of slightly different kids books. So
I'm sure you have books about pirates in the Netherlands.
Yeah, and there's
all
probably
your
a translation as well.
Come on.
No, we weren't pirates. We were traders.
Traders, yeah.
We were
opening up those trade routes with the cannons.
No, Piet Hein was a pirate, kind of. He stole the Spanish silver fleet.
Nice.
We sing songs about him. That was like a big win in the 80-year war. He was a pirate.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, he bankrupted the Spanish Empire by taking down their fleet.
They should have kept the backup copy of their keys, right? They had it all in silver.
Exactly.
If they had a treasure, they would have been set. And then, Oscar Wilde, he wrote, plays and stuff. The importance of
Oscar Wilde's the one I know. And the other one?
And then James Joyce is, he wrote books that are very hard to read. So he wrote A Portrait of a Young Man as an Artist. And,
is that the name of the book?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's like, he uses punctuation in a very different manner than anyone else. He doesn't put quote marks around people speaking.
Right.
It makes it much harder to read. He'll like give you all kinds of like textual things. And then he wrote Ulysses, which is like the hardest book ever to read because each chapter corresponds to like the Odyssey or the Iliad or something.
Right.
And it's actually just a walk around Dublin and like the guy's drunk all the time. But he has all these little things where it's like that references Achilles, and that references this politician, and that references this, and that references this. So you have to buy a separate book that goes with Ulysses to help you understand Ulysses.
Did you?
Ulysses is too hard to read. I've read like the first 2 chapters. I've read A Portrait of Artist as a young man, and when I read it the first time, I didn't understand it. And I read the second time with a class, like an English class, and the guy was explaining everything and he was breaking it down. And I was like, okay, this is really genius. Like, I get it now. I was stupid before. But there are some books that you can't just brute force read. Like, you have to get kind of help, or you have to understand the period the book's from. And that's definitely one of those.
Did you read Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas?
Yeah, of course. I read all of Hunter S. Thompson's books and his letters.
And his letters.
Yeah, I got like 3 giant volumes of like Fear and Loathing in America.
Right.
And a lot of the things he would do is write like angry letters to companies like, this is the worst raincoat I have ever owned. It fell apart upon first union. You are foul scum who deserve to be ripped from the earth. Like, he would just tear into these people in like some kind of warranty claim for like a raincoat or something.
Well, it's been 10 years since I read the book, but what I remember is that the way it's written is also like, if he gets drunk, it's like written by a drunk person.
Well, the best thing is goes to
he's
the transcripts, and he's like, this was just from a tape recorder.
Right.
And it's all made up.
Right, yeah.
Like, it's made up interview, and he'd be like, this is a we don't know what happened, but this is an etch from Dr. Gonzo, and it just goes to tape at certain points. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy when he drops the narrative like that. The other one that's like that that's really good is Tom Robbins, and it's called Still Life with Woodpecker. And the entire book takes place inside a camel pack. So like all the scenes and things from outside the camel pack end up in
What's a camel pack?
Cigarettes.
Oh,
camel cigarettes. They have all kind of designs and things on them.
Right.
And like eventually that all comes up in the book. But the best part about that is the whole time he's talking about his typewriter. He's got a brand new electric typewriter. And I mean, I have a little typewriter experience, and like a manual one, you have to have like a little rhythm to it, because if you push 2 keys at the same time, they jam. Right? So you can't do it. So when you get that electrical typewriter, you can be like a machine gun. And he's writing this book, and he keeps questioning whether the typewriter can do it. He's like, can this mechanical monster really write a love story? Like, he's trying to write a love story, and he's not so sure. And it's a little bit of a spoiler, but when he gets to the end of the book, he throws the goddamn typewriter out the window and finishes the book longhand. And you have to read his scrawl in like the last 5 pages, and it's just super fun. And it's just, I love it when people break the narrative like that.
Do you guys drink Club Mate?
I tried it. It tastes terrible.
Terrible?
There's one over there if you want it, man. I had a couple sips.
Every time you see me at this conference, I go on.
It tastes burnt and awful. And,
really? I fucking love it.
I heard that it had lots of caffeine, and I was excited because I need lots of caffeine. But no, I couldn't get into it, man.
Yeah, but the reason I mention is because I'm gonna have to go to the restroom, because I've been drinking like a million gazillion of these just today.
Well, fortunately, I can tell you from experience, they put it all the way across the conference and up the stairs.
I have to walk the maximum distance.
Yeah, the only way to get anywhere in this conference, you have to walk right through the main room where they're doing the big speech, and everyone's looking at you, and I'm like, I'm walking. No one's looking at me.
Yeah, and they think that probably he's going to the restroom.
Oh, I know. I'm sure they do, because I'm like, it's the first time I've been outside in 5 hours, and they're like, yeah, I'll bet that's where he's going.
All right, maybe I'll be back.
All right, maybe you'll be back.